Happy Friday. I'm taking a break from filming some content on vaginal pH, so keep an eye out for that next week. But now that I have a little bit of time and that we wrapped filming, I wanted to take a little bit of time and just talk a little bit more in detail about the app, when it's probably launching, what's inside, and what kind of things you can expect to see within it, depending on where you're at in your journey with your pelvic floor and core. At the time of launch, there will be 4 programs in the app. One is 12 weeks called Pelvic Floor Foundations. The next is a 6-week Advanced Pelvic Floor Fitness program. And then there is a 6-week Return to Running program and a 4-week Advanced Core program. And it's sequenced that you would start with the 12-week Pelvic Floor Foundations and then segue into any of those other options. So let's start with Pelvic Floor Foundations. It is broken into 3 4-week phases. Before you start the movement component, you're going to go through educational modules that are structured to help you learn and understand the basic concepts of pelvic health that are specifically important for you to know to be independent, as well as help guide you to self-assess the contributors to pelvic floor issues that could be your root cause for why you're seeing issues. When you go through the education phase, there's also a self-assessment that I created for you to do along with it to help you identify contributors to your issues and root cause problems, as well as identify other restrictions, maybe scar tissue, so that you can really target your interventions for best results. So other things like bowel and bladder habits and bowel and bladder diaries are in there as well, and talking about all of those things that contribute to pelvic health, because we know pelvic health and pelvic floor and core issues are so much more than just exercise alone. So that's definitely a very strong and important component, but I also hope the self-assessment helps you to track your progress when it's easy to feel like you're not making changes, and you can go back and see where you started, taking measurements of diastasis recti and symptoms tracking, as well as creating goals that are achievable and help you stay accountable. So then you'll go through the 12-week program from start to finish. The first phase is called the reset phase, and it's 4 weeks, and it's called reset because we are all going to start from the same common foundation, and we're going to reset our mobility and our breathing and our foundation. And I did that because when I was trying to decide how to put out a program for people to generally follow, I needed to know that we were all at some sort of common ground starting with, so that again, you could be successful. So it is breathing and ribcage mobility and trunk mobility and all of those things that aren't super exciting. It is slow moving, and it might be a lot of the stuff you probably skipped on your way to trying to improve your pelvic floor issues. So that is the first phase, and then built into that are self-assessments as well to help guide you. Are you ready to move on? Do you need to stay and work a little bit longer? After you finish the reset phase and you create your core foundation and learn what that core canister really is like and how to connect to your pelvic floor, then we go into the integrate phase, which is total body movements every time you see them. We're learning how upper body and lower body movements work with your core at the same time with that core strategy. Start to explore different planes of movement, using that in and slowly building how do we connect different muscles with our core strategy at the same time. So we're hitting all of the upper and lower body movements, as well as core stability and basic core strengthening, getting progressively harder. So it's lighter weights and lots of bands. And then we move into the strength phase, and that changes to body part specific training days so that we can increase the load of the resistance we're using and really push strength so that we can continue to make gains and maintain what we created in the first 2 phases. Every workout is completely guided and coached by me. I thought it was really important to be able to be that voice in your ear the entire time to guide you through alignment and form cues and breathing cues, because it's a lot and it's overwhelming as a beginner. And you get in the zone and you completely forget about some of the things you need to that really make a huge difference in being successful with the time that you're spending doing movement. One of those days is a yoga influence day every week in every single phase that I do along with you. And that emphasis is on reducing pelvic floor tension, making sure we're maintaining that, connecting to our breathing and our rib cage mobility, and always making sure that we're maintaining those gains we created in the foundational phase. So you can expect to see that every week as well. I know that's the program that most people have questions about, and I really wanted to highlight that. Thereafter, once you've created that awesome core and pelvic floor foundation, the advanced program is more strength training, focusing on heavier loads. So we have longer rest breaks, as well as working towards higher intensity movement. So pull-ups and burpees and jump squats and kind of jump training, high intensity movement is in there. The return to running is completely focused on single leg strength, stability, mobility, and running form for you over a 6-week phase, as well as how to incorporate that running form into your current running. And then the advanced core are short core workouts that you would tag on after your basic foundation that, again, take you into higher level movements like plank variations and sit-ups with ball tosses and those sorts of things. For those of you who love my workouts, we are then going to segue into Connect Daily workouts, where you can maintain all of the gains you made in a fun and engaging way, maintaining the areas that contribute to issues so that you never have to deal with that again. So we are doing a membership, either monthly or yearly, for that. And also included in that is going to be ongoing workshops that would be completely free to anybody who is subscribing, as well as I plan to show up live for you twice a month to answer any questions and troubleshooting along the way. And we hope to have lots more women's health topics and things that we can provide to you through that. There will also be a community of other people that you can engage with. And one thing that we're doing is we're going to work to create smaller accountability groups if you want to join them and connect with others who are going through the same thing that you are. All right, that is the main overview. I'm going to leave a question box in case I forgot to mention anything or questions that you have about it. And then I will save these stories to the highlight called Launching Soon. And then I'm going to leave the waitlist link. This is a great question. I forgot to mention this. When I started talking about this like a year and a half or 2 years ago, people were very much adamant. They either liked apps or they didn't want another app, and they wanted to be able to access it via the web. So you can do many things. There is the app, but you can access it via website if you have a large computer monitor that you like to use, as well as it'll be available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, any of those, so you can dial it up on your TV and follow along with a large screen. The average length is about 40 minutes. There are a couple videos at the end of the reset phase that are longer, because as we add more complexity, there's just so much verbal instruction on things to think about that just takes a little bit longer outside of the actual exercise period of instructing and conveying alignment and things to think about. But otherwise than that, about 40 minutes from start to finish. We are working on creating a full equipment list to show you by which phase what you need to have in it, but you don't need to have a home gym. As long as you have some free weights, as well as some bands, long bands and circle bands, and then other things like a Pilates ball and yoga blocks that we use very frequently, and something to step up onto, whether that's a cooler or an ottoman, if you have a bench at home, a step stool, stuff like that. So we're going to compile a list by phase, but you don't need a full gym membership. The only other thing with bands is having somewhere to anchor it to for a lot of the exercises, whether that's wall anchors, or I used to have just a big pole in our basement that was a support pole that I would wrap bands around. So something that's sturdy that you can attach bands to, but otherwise that gets the job done. Excellent question. Because it's a membership, there's either a monthly or yearly subscription, and it's pretty on par with what a lot of other people are putting out, but in my opinion, a lot more value. So our regular price will be $30 for a month, or $15 for a month if you pay by the year. So $30 if you go monthly, $15 if you pay it by the year, which would be $180. Our launch day deal is going to be $99 for the entire year. That's $8.25 a month. That is less than a Chick-fil-A meal for sure, and pretty on par depending on how bougie your coffee choice is. So there's so much value. I'm excited for you to see it. There's a 14-day free trial. You get to get in and see all of that that's in there, plus the continual ongoing updates that we plan to offer as part of your membership. Yes, all my friends anywhere in the world, which is so cool to even imagine. If you can access the internet, you'll be able to access the app, the website, Roku, Apple, all those things.